Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Mobster Players Revenge Tools and Tips, and I'm Brutus. In this particular clip, we're going to be talking about territory. Okay, territory is a very important aspect of the game, particularly if you want to build your bounty. So let's just get right into it. Go ahead and click on the territory tab, and this pops up here. Okay, let's explain this here a little bit. You can go ahead and read that at your own time if you want to. Now, these items right here, these, what do they call these? Lots, okay? You need to have these depending upon what particular property you want to buy, okay? So, for example, if I wanted to buy this particular property, townhomes, it's telling me that I need empty lots in order to do that. All right, so I would have to come up here and buy a number of empty lots that corresponds with the number of properties that I want to buy. Anyway, let's get into a little bit more about what this information here is all about. Level 1, this is basically indicating to you at what level these particular items are available. In this case here, these are all available in level 1, and this one here is available at level 15. And this one here becomes available at level 90. So it goes without saying that depending upon what level determines what particular property is available for you to purchase. The higher up you go in level, the more income you get from your property. So let's see if I got any cash out here. And I do. I got $10 million. So let's say, for example, and this is just an example. I wouldn't necessarily do this in the real game. There's a strategy when it comes to buying property. You want to get, my strategy is to get the most expensive property first and then work my way down in value. Okay, that's my strategy. It works out pretty well for me. There's a number of ways you can do it. You can come up with your own scheme of buying property. It's entirely up to you. I get the most expensive one first and then I work my way down, because the most expensive one first gives out the most income. Although they cost more, but they give out more income. But anyway, let's say here, for just a demonstration purposes, that I wanted to buy townhomes, okay? And I actually, in my account, I don't think in any of my accounts I have any townhomes, because I just never even bothered with them. But if you want to, you can. I think I may have bought one just to show that I have that item on my Mobsters page. Now, again, you have to be a level 1 to get this. This is how much each one costs. This is the income that each one provides. So if you buy one of these here, and this correlates with the cash flow. If you remember back in the first video, which is the main page video, and we talked about cash flow and how do you get cash flow. And this is basically how you get it, and it's by purchasing property. So in this particular case here, this townhome will yield $300 worth of $300 every hour. Remember, I told you the cash flow accumulates every hour. So in this case, we got $300 every hour going into cash flow, which equates to how much bounty you have. That'll all come clear to you as you start playing the game. But this is how much income you get. Now, this is the cost to you in cash, not favor points, but cash. Okay, so each one costs $9,000, and you get $300 return on investment every hour. All right, and what it's saying to you here in this case is build on an empty lot. So in other words, in order for you to get this particular item here, you have to have an empty lot to buy one, or 10, or 1,000, whatever the case may be. We'll get into that in just a second. So let's go ahead and just do, for demonstration purposes, just go ahead and buy one of these townhomes. So we go back up here, and it said we needed an empty lot. So go, here's the empty lot. I need $100 to buy one. The income for it is $100. So you'll get $100 plus the $300 for the townhome as cash flow, and it costs $4,500. I am just going to buy one at this point here. But if you intended to buy 10 townhomes, or 10 times 100 townhomes, or 1,000 townhomes, you would buy that many empty lots. So if I wanted to buy 100 townhomes, I would buy 100 empty lots, one for each property. In this case here, I'm only going to buy one. Now, here's a tip. When you buy property, you buy the minimum of 10 of 100. You buy a minimum of 100. It becomes cheaper. The more you buy, the cheaper they are per right? Naturally, if you've got the cash, and you can go ahead and buy 1,000 at a time if you want. But in this case, we're just going to buy one for just demonstration. So click on one, and we go ahead and buy it. Okay. It says here we successfully bought an empty lot. I can continue to click buy more if I need it more. In this case, I'm not going to. All right. While I'm here, I just want to explain something. You can also sell these back. Only kick to that or drawback to that is that you get them back for 50% of their value. So now, if you have if you've got up in the billions of dollars worth of property and you sell them back, you're going to get half of that money. So something to keep in mind. Now, so we've already bought one, so it shows we own one. Now we can go ahead and buy that townhome. All right. So we'll go over here and we'll go ahead and select one. Okay. If you select more than the amount of lots you have, it's going to give you errors. So let's say we've got 4 here. We're going to try to buy them. It's going to give you error. You don't have enough empty lots, Goomba. Right? So we have one. Let's go back here and correct this. Choose one and go ahead and buy it. Hey, we got a townhome for $9,000. Ha! What world is that? Anyway. By the way, this over here gives you suggestions of what you should do next. By all means, if you want to follow the suggestions that the game puts out, that's your prerogative, your choice. Everybody develops their own techniques on how they buy property. Whatever suits your fancy, that's what you do. Okay, you can continue to buy more property as long as you have enough lots for it. All right, now the rest of these here are basically the same deal. It's the same process. If you wanted to buy, for example, some of the top dollar items here, you'd have to buy empty fields in order to purchase these casinos, right? The empty fields over here. Notice the difference here. The income is $550,000 every hour, and the cost is pretty exorbitant. Okay, $290 million versus the $9,000. Or in any case, you'd have to come over here and buy these empty fields for this particular property, because this property requires empty fields. Pretty much self-explanatory. Down at the bottom here, it says the next advanced territory is at level 250. In other words, the type of property that's available to you is going to stay the same until you get to level 250. Keep that in mind in your gameplay. All right. Now, before we even go there, let me explain this here real quickly. This right here is your payout. This is the amount of money that's the total of all of the property that you bought, and this contributes to cash flow. You get this amount of money every single hour. Over here it's telling you there's 21 minutes and 37 seconds left before this is deposited into your cash. Okay? Remember up here, cash? That is where the money comes from. No, I'm sorry. Look, it deposits into your cash flow, my bag. Okay? See here, it's 2.4. Over here, you see 2.4 billion. So every hour, it goes into your cash flow. And that cash flow, every hour, accumulates into your cash. And remember, the cash flow has everything to do with your bounty. The higher your cash flow is, the higher your bounty. Let's take a real quick look at that. You see here cash flow of 2.4 billion. Let's go to my Mobster tab. We'll get more into it in another video, another clip in my bag. And you notice here that Baby Jane has $24 million, etc., as a bounty, which is absolutely nothing. You got people that have 700 billion. No, I think I've seen as high as 500 billion. And you see those folks up in the made men's tab. Let's see who's the highest there. Here, okay, the whatever blanking has $516 trillion. That means that he has that much in cash flow. He's been around a long time, this fellow. Okay, so back to the territory. Let's wrap it up. There is another tab here that's very important in the game, and it's called the Rackets tab. Okay, couple things to keep in mind about the Rackets tab, mobbies. Okay, you can only have 6 rackets at a time. 6 amount at a time. So in this case here, Baby Jane does not have any active rackets because they would show up here. And we're not going to demonstrate that because we would have to purchase these rackets, and I'm not going to do that. But let's explain the rackets themselves. Now, these are all rackets, and they have different strengths. or different properties, should I say. For example, take the pawn shop right here. It, just like the territory, gives you an income hourly of $25,000 if you purchased it for 35 favor points. And on top of that, it gives you 1% more boost on your defense. So say, for example, you did missions, you got an avatar item, they give you 23% boost attack and defense. Here, if you bought this here, you get an additional 1%, blah, 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 percentage in boost. But every little bit counts in this game, and you will learn that very, very quickly, if not later. Now, obviously, this is the amount you own. We don't own any because we didn't buy any. We want to buy some. We got to cough up $35. Pimp would be very rich if that was the case. 35 favor points to buy one. Okay? And it only lets you buy X amount of those rackets. I forget what that is. Now, notice this one here gives you an increase in defense. They're all the same basically when it comes to the variables here. Okay, this one here gives you 1% critical hits. It's a little bit more. Well, it's actually the same. This one here gives you a 1% in attack. Okay, this one here, if you purchased it, okay, you get 20 stamina. Here's why I spoke earlier in the first clip about the main page, is where you can get more health. Okay, you pay 95 favor points, you get additional 200 health. All right, it allows you to get up to 2 of these. As a matter of fact, I believe all these is just up to 2. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. This one here is a punch. One of my favorites, punch, but one punch is absolutely limp. But when you start out early in the game, you'll be salivating just to get this one punch. But it costs 80 favor points, and you get one punch, and you can just buy them. They're basically all the same. You can just scroll down as you get further down. You notice that the cost gets higher, the income gets higher, and then the stat gets higher. Here, in this case, you get 8% critical hit for 300, whereas whatever it was for 1%, I think it was 35 favor points or whatever for that card. So that is territory. I mean, rackets, right? This here, there's no sound technique or strategy for purchasing rackets. I don't buy rackets personally unless I truly have to, because I want to max out on a particular stat. Because you can get rackets that give you these types of variables, or offensive, defense, or health, or stamina. You can get them to do missions, and you can also get them during the holidays. Sometimes pimps wants to give you a nice little racket or something like that. But you also, by all means, you can come and buy them if you need to. Usually at the beginning, once you probably want to come in here at the minimum and buy yourself some health and buy yourself some stamina, because you're going to need that particularly for playing lotto. So that is the spiel on territory, which includes property and rackets. All right, that was my spiel. Have a good one. Emla. Ciao.